All right. Super exciting. React hook forms. I love this stuff. So say hello, you're here. Let me know that you're listening and what you want to talk about today, because we've got this really cool dynamic React hook form. So I've actually done a little bit more on React hook forms yesterday and today. So in fact, I'll be doing probably another video next week on React hook form. I really like it, and there's a lot to know kind of about the subtleties of it. Hey, Alex. Good seeing you. Happy Friday. Hope you got, well, I don't know, as interesting a weekend planned as you could have planned with all this. Okay, so let's start getting into the example and playing around with it. So what we're going to use React hook form, which is really cool. It's a React hook, manages forms, React hook form. And we're going to use shards. I don't know if you've seen this or not, but you know, this is pretty cool. This is a new UI toolkit. Very, very new. So we'll give it a go. And we're going to use my starter kit. I also did the README like everybody else. That was fun. I saw one good one today. It was great. It was somebody did like a full all green, basically this, but done like all green across the board with like a trillion commits or something like that. And the guy's like, and he put that up at the top. I thought that was awesome. All right, so let's go and grab this. Okay, so what are we going to call this thing? React hook form modular, whatever. Okay, and let's just de-get that and start it out. Put it here for the moment and bring up VS Code. It's funny, I actually haven't done this one since last weekend. I normally do a lot of them, like I practice it a couple of times, but I've just been so busy. So this is a little jerky, you know. Don't well, I did it a couple times on the weekend, so it should be fine. I usually do these about 3 or 4 times just to get the flow right. That's important. Every minute that I put into it is more minutes that you guys get out of it. Exciting weekend plans are recreating. Oh, ooh. Wow. Is that going to be open source, Alex? I hope so. That sounds awesome. I really wanted to get into XState, but I just don't have a use. Like the applications that I write generally don't have complex like state management in them. Although actually one I'm thinking about might, so that's cool. So what's the use case for XState that you're looking at? And in the meantime, I'll start this up and we can have a look. All right. So there you go. Webpack. Cool. So let's go and bring in shards. Interesting name. I get after a while you're going to run out of different names to give to frameworks. So shards sounds about right. What is it again? Shards React. I got that wrong in the video like 10 times. React shards. Shards React. And while we're here, let's bring in React hook form. And then we'll also go and do like some styling. Just give it a nice like width. Like 1200. And margin auto. And that'll just bump it in off the sides so we can see it. Maybe a little padding on top. Or just padding in general. Yeah, and that'll put it in the middle of the screen. Plus with forms, you always want to keep it constrained, otherwise the text boxes get absurd looking. Okay, so let's bring in some controls for the shards stuff. Actually, let's bring it out here. Yeah, that's actually pretty good. So, actually, was that the one I was looking at? Form input, maybe? Oh, there's... that's not quite what I wanted. Well, what I found before, actually, I like quite a lot. So, let's go back into our code. And it's a combination of form input, input group, input add-on, and input text. So let's start that off. And get rid of that. XState. That sounds really cool. And then it's like class name equals MD2 or something like that. What is that? All right. Yeah, there you go. Every one of these things has their own little dublecki in there. Input group type equals. Do you have any hinting for that? Nope. Or input add-on. Let's see. There we go. I've also been doing a lot of TypeScript lately, which I'm finding quite nice. Okay. Prepend. Great. And then input group text with, I don't know, name, something like that. And then finally, we get to our form input. So we need to have something to connect it to. So let's go and make a USForm. Let's see, register just first off and do USForm. And then give it right away all the things I forget to do, like revalidate mode. Right. Okay, great. I love that you can hint it, but not actually give it to me. All mode is all, and that's basically just saying that we want all. We want it to validate all the time. And default values. What do we have? Like we had a name on there. Jack. That's always fun. Okay. And where we normally do, so let's go take a look what we got. And that's not working. Probably because, let's see. Oh, USForm is not defined. That'll do it. All right, USForm. All right. Hey, look at that. Looks like hot buttered garbage, but whatever. Why is that like doing that? All right. Is it not in there? Oh no, it's not inside the input group. Oh, that's nice. That looks much better. Okay. Okay, so let's see. So we want to go and do this. So this is for React Hook Form. React Hook Form looks at the name. And we're going to do inner ref. So we normally, if this was just an input, we'd do ref. Now we're going to do inner ref, I believe. Yeah. And we'll do a register. We just do it like that. All right, cool. But if we want it to be required, got to add on required, true. And then we also got to go and check for the errors. So in this case, they call it invalid. And it's invalid if error's name. Is that gonna work? That's not the way I did it. God, man. VS Code's aggressively hinting me today. Oh yeah, and I need errors over here. All right, let's see. Nice. Okay, so if there is no name and error, then I guess I'm nodding the knot on if there's an error, which would be make it invalid, then it's going to show up there. So cool. All right. So now we want to have this form. We want to have two different versions of the form. We want to have a Japanese version of the form or whatever. We can decide on the locale as we go on. And then we want to have a US version of the form. We just want them to have different fields and show that you can change it out such that all the validation still works and all that. So that's cool. So in order to do that, let's go and do an address in here and have it be, let's see, first line of the address, second line of the address, city, state, zip. All right. Okay. And we'll go and, oh boy, that's a lot. Okay. So we'll just do, you know what? We'll create the US form first. So we'll call it, or I don't know. Yeah, US form. Okay. And it's going to be a bunch. Well, let's go and put some styling around it so we know what it is. want? We want one huge border dashed in green. That way we know. And then finish the div. And we're going to want, let's see. This is going to be the first. This is going to be address.first. So you can actually do that. And, we're not doing TypeScript. So what we need to do, we need to say, invalid if we've got errors.address and errors.address first. Right. Okay. Because the address might not actually exist yet. Let's see. Is that looking good? Sure. But we don't have register and we don't have errors. So let's go put those in there. Register and errors. And then we got to pass those in to the USForm. So let's go do that. Get rid of this so you can at least see more of the screen. There we go. Register is register. And cool. A calculator. Huge fan of visualizer tools. Oh, okay. That's actually worth looking at. Like, it's worth looking at for me just for the visualization of it. I would love to see that. So if you want to tell me what like the path of least resistance, like a GitHub project that I can just clone and like fire it up, and then I guess is a browser extension or something that shows the visualization of it, that would be awesome. I'm always up for that sort of stuff. Visualizations in general are my thing. Okay, let's give this a try. Hey! Oh my god, that's the ugliest thing ever. I love it. Okay. Okay, that's the first. There we go. Nice. And so I just basically need to repeat this out for a second. And let me actually, before I do that, let me just do that too, but okay, cool. So validation's working. Awesome. Is that address 1, address 2, and then let's see. City, state, zip. All right, state. Sate. And zip. I don't know, it's usually called postal code, but let's just go with zip. Okay. And yeah, hey, nice. Okay, we got ourselves a nice USForm. Okay. But now we want to be able to go and toggle this thing, right? So let's see. We first need to go and grab that out because it's getting too big for one file. So we'll call that USForm. Drop that in there. Let's see, don't need that. Need a bunch of that. Don't need that or that. And let's go and export defaults. Well, we'll just do that at the bottom. Okay. Nice. Hello, everybody. Visualize the tools directly on their site. Ooh, nice. Okay, yeah, please. I would love to see that. I always think those are great. You know, if you want to go and build one of these systems, it's always good to have like extra tooling around it so that people like you leverage it, like you know, the Redux Chrome extensions, and I think that was really critical in getting Redux out there. Similar sort of thing with MobX. USForm. And the state trees can get complex. All right, let's see if that still works. Yeah, looking good. Okay, so what? Let's see. How about a Deutschland form? So I honestly have no idea. We'll call it Deutschland, DE form. Is that going to be it? So let's go over here, my English. So if I say Germany, what is it going to show? Germany is DE. Hey! Hey! Nice. Okay. So, all right. So this is our Deutschland form. And we'll say they only have one address line. And, I don't know, city, I don't know, region. How about that? We'll call it a region and a postal code. Okay. So basically we're just removing one field and then we're renaming some of that stuff. Now the renaming, obviously, you could do with I18N, but it actually does, like, you would imagine that you'd also have like different regex stuff for this. Like you can imagine, like, I don't know, maybe the regex for a US zip code is either 5 digits or 5 digits dash 4 digits. Whereas for Deutschland, I don't know, maybe it's 4 or maybe it's 6. I don't know. But it's the value here is we're starting to imagine building out a platform, right? So it's got extension points in it. And you could do this for all kinds of different things. You could extend, you can extend forms, you can extend like dashboard items, stuff like that. So kind of thinking about the idea of having parts and pieces of your app being runtime, that's kind of what I wanted to get to in this particular system. And I also want to use React Hook Form because it's cool and I like it. Okay, so let's go back over to our app and we'll bring in the Deutschland form. And we'll just try it out. Oh, and let's also change it. I don't know. Let's make this blue. Hold on. That was the US form. Let's go make the German form blue. Cool. All right. Now we know. Now it's visually distinct, right? So now we want to flip these two based on what we're actually looking at. So if first thing we're going to look at is go back over to app, and we're going to just put up here that the language, I don't know, let's put it in an H5. How about that? Language is navigator dot language. Cool. So it's currently EN, which will shorthand to English, to US, or it's German. So we just need to change out this based on whatever that is. So we'll go back here to, EN US. So basically say, we could start off, the easiest way to do this would be to go and say, if navigator language equals EN, what is it? Dash US. I mean, we could just do a regex out of this. How about not DE? That's probably the easiest way to go. Then let's use the USForm. Otherwise, we'll use the German form. And you can imagine like having a whole bank of these and some logic to decide which one to go with. So this one is equals. Yeah, let's see. All right. So all things being equal, let's go. Let's now flip over to German. Ausgezeichnet. Awesome. That's about the extent of my German, so good luck with that. All right, so I'm sorry, Frau Mueller. I took three years of German in high school. That's about as much as I get. Okay. Okay, so, but if we go back here and we look at our network tab, this is not great. You don't want to actually have this, like, assuming that these forms are going to be fairly substantive size-wise. Everything's going to go right now into source app. So the easiest way to optimize this a little bit would be to do a lazy load on that. So let's go and change this out to be a React lazy. Whew. Not happy. Oh, that's not right. React lazy about how my IDE is showing me selections. Because if I do this, right, how do I know the difference between, oh, those are two are selected? Oh, it's got that little line there. That's not great. Okay, and I would need to put a React suspense around each one of these. Fallback is loading form. Okay, cool. And then drop that in there. All right. So now we can see over here we got source USForm, and when I go over here to Germany, I get the DE form. So yay! All right, so good. All right, we're doing some lazy loading. That's awesome. And if I want to make this a little easier on myself, all I've got to do is just say, let's see, const component or whatever form or address component is navigator language equals DE, then the German form, otherwise the US form, and there you go. So just drop that in there, and now get rid of this logic. Okay, and same kind of idea, English, or German, English, rocking. Okay, so now that's cool, right? It's dynamic. For many uses, this would be fine. What happens if we want to go and take that and then make federated modules out of it and share it around? So let's go do that, because that's fun. That's what a lot of what I've been working on lately, and it's cool. So let's get out of this, and we got to rebuild or move stuff around here. So we're going to call this the, I guess, host. Call it that. And we're going to move source and Babel RC and not get ignore, but package JSON, probably node modules, and Webpack and yarn lock all into host. And then let's go into host. Cool. Let's fire it up again. All right, looking good, as you'd expect. And what we need to do is we need to go and create, like, essentially, you could deploy these as S3, or you could have these hot actual apps. We're going to have essentially like federated libraries with runtime sharing for both the US form and for the Deutschland form. So let's go and de-git that one again. And this one time we're going to call it the US form. And we're going to shave this down a little bit, and then, oops, and that was in the wrong spot. Let's go back up a directory and try that again. All right, cool. So same idea. We're going to go over here. Now we're going to change this to 8081 and get rid of the HTML Webpack plugin because we don't need that. Get rid of our CSS loader. Get rid of this. And let's call this US underscore form, because this is going to be a variable on window, so minus is not okay. So we're going to go with the US form. And let's see, we also got to remove some files. Don't have to, but might as well since we don't need them. Get rid of that original app.jsx, and let's make that index really small. Cool. All right, so that's about sort of the basic starting point, I would say. Oh, wait, let's also, while we're here, go ahead and add, was it shards? Shards React? You need shards React. We do not need React Hook Form since we're passing in register and errors. So it doesn't actually need it. And that's cool. Oh, haha, nice. I did that at the top level. Let's get rid of that. Package JSON, yarn lock. Node modules. Now let's go into USForm and do that. So yarn add shards React in USForm. Okay. Cool. So we also want a Japanese DE form. So let's go and copy that into DE form. And now since it's got no module, it's going to be a much larger process. Man, no modules is huge. Good Lord. I was reading an article recently about like how some guy was saying basically don't use React for your blog, which I kind of agree with. And he's like, the idea that we're taking this 500 megabytes of node modules and paring it down to the size of a blog, bundles is crazy. Okay, I'm gonna go and rebuild that because I've been burned so many times by it, like a stale node modules. So okay, so the next thing we want to do is we want to basically move out those forms into those federated modules. And the first one we're going to do is, I guess, deform. So let's copy it into there. And then USForm, we take it down into USForm. Put it in there. Coolio. Nice. Let's see. Oh, and also 82 is going to be German. And also, let's see, deform. Okay, great. Now, both of these actually have to go and share out that code. So they're not going to bring in themselves, but they are going to expose. Let's see. I'm in deform. Cool. So let's do deform. And we'll make it source deform. And let's go back over to US Webpack. Cool. And bring in that and call it USForm. Nice. All right. So that's looking good. Let's try out the USForm first, just to, see if it starts up. And because there's no HTML plugin and all that, okay, we get this kind of nice landing page. Let's look for remote entry. Hey, looking pretty good. So we got USForm in there. It exposes USForm. Good. It's all in 81. Looking good. Let's do the same thing over in Deutschland. Okay. 82. All right. Looking good. Awesome. Looking good in the neighborhood. So let's get rid of some of these. We can start seeing some things again. Okay. And now we're going to go over into the host and start consuming those. So now I've got those out there. It's still running because it's got the local versions that is not yet consuming, but it has module federation stuff already to go. So what it needs to do is say that there is a USForm out there somewhere. And there's a deform out there somewhere. And if I was on 21, I'm not. I'm on 20 at the moment. Beta 21 of Webpack 5. There is a new format for this. You could say USForm. I believe this is the syntax. I have not yet tried it. And it would be USForm at HTTP, localhost, which of course you can change based on whether you're in prod or dev. Localhost 8081 for USForm remote entry, JS. And that should automatically inject that script tag for you and automatically load the remote entry. So you wouldn't have to do what I'm going to do now, which is here. I'm going to go and add this to the index.html. So that new syntax would automatically do this for you. So script source. So that's handy too. And then also 82. Okay, cool. And if we want, we can go back over here to this and we can say right away, USForm. And give that a try. And it fails because we don't know how to resolve deform because we have yet to rebuild the, reparse the Webpack config. All right, looking like we're actually doing this. So let's check it out in the network inspector. Make sure we've got the right thing. Okay, so this is USForm and it's coming from, does it make it? Ah, it does. Nice. It makes the little pop-up bigger too. So it comes up from 8081 USForm, and if I jump over to Germany, let's give that a try. Germany. Cool. And now if I look over here, 82. Sweet. And all things being equal, if I were to go over and change something in here in the USForm. I don't know. Let's say zippy and addressee. We'll be cutesy about it. Addressee 2. Oh, let's even fix a bug. There you go. Addressee 1. All right. That's the Morrissey version of the address. All right. So let's go back to English. Nice. And so we've got live sharing. So now you've essentially got this repository of different forms that you can then use from other applications if you have requirements of having different addresses and all that logic being shared between, I don't know, I guess probably like your settings site and maybe your checkout site, because both of those would have addresses. Like, and on the settings side, you'd have an address of where the customer is, that's like their default address. And then on the checkout side, you have like, okay, do you want the default address or do you want this address? And so being able to share that form between those two applications, thumbs up. And you can do it all in the super awesome React Hook form, which is great. Okay, so, but can we go a little weirder? Can we make this more of a platform by basically saying, well, we don't want to know a priori if we are US. We don't have to worry about that. We want to basically deploy it. And in that deployment, we should be able to say, here is my form, right? You're not going to go and have a prepackaged form. That's going to be an extensible item that then is configured with the app when we deploy. I know I'm not maybe saying that all that well, but talk that through in a second. All right, so we're going to stop these. And instead of packing this up as deform, we're just going to say this is form. And imagine like dependency injection, right? So I'm just going to give the app the form manager, and it's going to use it as long as it conforms to a specific API. And the same sort of thing over here for the US. Get rid of that. All right. It's still, a source is fine. Source doesn't matter. Like, I can call it whatever I want to call it internally. But the contract here is that it's going to be on a window variable called .form or form, and it's going to have a form in it. So let's fire this up again. Because I've changed the Webpack config, so I need to reboot. And now if I go and check those out, I'm sure that it is what it is. Yeah, there you go. It's got form, blah, blah, blah. And now if I go back over to the app, the host app, which I can get rid of these, by the way. I don't need those anymore. Didn't have any of those for a little while. Now all I'm going to do is I'm just going to say, I just want form. And in fact, I just want the address component like that. Oops, not like that. Like that. And let's see, form, USForm, this form. Okay. Again, I don't know about that, so let's go over and fix our Webpack config. All right, and rebuild it, or restart it. I love how fast this stuff is. And we get Germany. And the reason we get Germany is because if I go over here, like that's the second one in. Second one wins. So I'm just going to change that out to 8081. And now I only get the US form. And what I've basically done is I've made this host app sort of plug and play. You just tell me what form you want, and there you go. And you can imagine making it resilient by having like a default form that would, if that's not there, right? If you get an error on loading, then you default to a default form. But this just gives you all these extension points. So you can start thinking about your app as more of something where you can just kind of drop in parts and pieces as long as they conform to the API that you specified, which I think is really pretty cool. So in order to check this out, kind of complete the example, I'm going to go create a public folder that will then configure over as in the content base, I think. I've become so much better at Webpack over the past couple months. All right, you know what? I'm going to cheat. There we go. I was right on the key. Okay, yeah, whatever. Not exactly rocket science. Okay, require path. Dot path. Okay, so this is basically saying whatever the directory is that this file is located in, then just add on .public / public, which is right there, and we'll go call this Germany. And let's see, let's go over here, grab my page source, drop that in for Germany, change this out for 8082, and that stays the same. And obviously production will be different. And let's see, got to restart this because I've changed Webpack Config yet again. Get rid of that one and that one. And now that works. And now let's head on over to Germany, which is really cool, right? So now we got the German version. Even though the browser is reporting ENUS, we're still getting the Germany version because that is the extension point that I've connected to on that app. And I've overridden, well, not over, and there's nothing there to override. I mean, it'll blow up if I don't do it. But you can see what I'm doing here. For like larger installations, you might have something like Akamai or something like that that's basically looking at your, the browser headers coming in, or a cookie that you've put on for different internationalizations, and it'll just route you to that site. But here's the cool thing, right? You can do this as a static deploy, and that's really cool. So we could actually just build this out today and have different points, and as long as whatever your upfront router is routing to, oh, you're Germany, cool, great, send you to the German URL. Then boom, you got a static deploy. It's all customized for Germany. It's great. So what else would you need to customize it for Germany? Well, you'd also need internationalization strings. Awesome. Let's do that too. So let's go and extend, take form and basically turn it into our app configurator type thing. So let's go back over here, shut all these down again. And I don't know, let's call this AppConfig. I don't know, something like that, right? So make it more generic. It's not just serving forms, it's serving all kinds of stuff. So we need to make sure that that's symmetric over here in the code that's actually going to consume it. So it's going to get from the AppConfig the form, and then back over in USForm, we're also going to change that to AppConfig. And then we're going to consume some, we're also going to expose some I18N values. So that's the other thing you need to do, really, to make a valid thing here. All right, let's go say I call it strings. It's always, everybody likes strings. Same thing over in our DE form. We'll have a strings. And then one more thing, just to kind of make this all nice, we're going to consume our own app config, and that'll be the way that we'll get to our strings. And so this is like killing yet another bird with this one stone, which is that you often get the issues around like static sites. Like, how do you go and get the strings, right? And get them in a way where you're not downloading like all of the strings of all of the different locales and then paring it down to just the one that the customer is looking at, right? This would allow you, because you're going to be deploying essentially for every locale that you want to support independently, then you get exactly the strings that you're looking for and only the strings that you're looking for. Really cool. All right, so let's go back over here to remotes. It's really neat to think about the kind of things that you can do with this model as opposed to like the standard NPM model. Because you can you can have a difference between the package JSON name and what's actually in here as the remote name. You can start doing some cool stuff. Okay, so do we have strings? We need strings. Who's got the strings? Export default. Let me go back to my German for a second. Hello, maybe? And then how about city? Oh no, we called it state. Is going to be region. Region E, just region in German. I don't know what the German word for region is. Okay, And we'll go over here to USForm, similar sort of thing, strings, and we'll call state state in English, so we can see if we're actually using this, and that'll be hello. Okay, so now over in, let's see, so what do we want to start with? Let's go start over in the main app. So we'll restart these guys, just to make sure that I've got all my I's dotted and T's crossed. Resolve source string, you see? This is why I do these things. Strings, okay. And then you too. I bet you're wrong too. Yes, you are. Okay, cool. So let's try that one again. Okay, that's better. And let's see, just to make sure. And yeah, there you go. So it's got strings in it. That looks good. Okay. So I think we're exporting strings from, what was that? That was 8082. Let's go over to try it on English, on US. Looks good. Great. Okay. So now we want to get the hello and put it into our app. So now we know if it's, so let's see, import strings from AppConfig strings. And then within this component, we want to say at the top, strings at hello. Okay, cool. Now let's start up. And it didn't work. Awesome. I love it when it doesn't work. Can I find AppConfig strings? You are correct, sir. And that's because... there we go. AppConfig, which we also saw down here. I forgot to check all my I's and T's on that one. Cool. All right, so we got hello. So now we've got localizable strings, and with no additional work, let's check it out from Germany. Hello. Awesome. Okay, let's put these again. Well, we got them side by side anyway, so there you go. Nice. And because of the local loopback, basically, because now deform and USForm are both consuming AppConfig as well as exposing AppConfig, I can go over here to my USForm and I can import strings from AppConfig. You know, we'll know that Module Federation in this format has made it when it's actually like built into hinting. And let's see, where is it? State. Okay, strings.state. And which one is this again? This is USForm. So let's see. Yeah, look at that. State in English. Nice. Awesome. So super easy, right? Now I've got a system where I can do I18N. I can do, I can imagine having configuration switches. There's all kinds of stuff that I can imagine being able to do, because Module Federation, unlike MicroFE frameworks, allows me to share all kinds of stuff, not just components, but also strings, configurations, functions, basically anything that goes into JS can be done with Module Federation. So this is now we've got a platform, right? This host app is configurable by just giving it different packages that I runtime add on to it. Super cool. All right, let's see if that actually finally works in German too. Let's take a look. Yep, region in German. Nice. And also hello up at the top. So strings is getting passed around and used everywhere. And so is the form. Awesome. Right. Okay, so questions. Any questions about any of this? Is it interesting? Do you see yourself doing something like this with Module Federation? Do you use React Hook forms? Any questions you got? I'm all in. I'm Jaher on Twitter, so if you're not excited about posting something in comments, just hit me up at JHERR on Twitter. And you can DM me. It's all open. I'm up for questions, anything you got. Alex is going to send me some cool visualization stuff about X state, which is really interesting. I have to think about a good. I really want to show it off. I really want to. Well, I want to understand it, and then I want to show it. What a good, like, very state specific thing might be, like a game, maybe like a small game. I can imagine that, like a choose your own adventure thing. That could be cool. I wanted to do that for a little while, like, because it would be a nice, like, since I do all this advanced video stuff, I don't actually, like, the people watching this is kind of a small group. So I've been thinking about doing more basic kind of introductory level stuff. So maybe like a choose your own adventure, and then use XState for like where the character is in the state of the tree of all the possible conditions. I haven't done like a Zork thing since I was like 13, so that'd be a nice thing. And of course, you can do a lot better now with HTML and the web and all that. I was actually also thinking about doing like a game as another video where, you know, you kind of have like one of those jewel things where you're dropping stuff from the top and you got to like blow stuff up and move it around, or like a Tetris sort of thing. Those are always fun, kind of small things. I actually have done a little bit of work now with, speaking about Germany, with the Angular guy. I'm spacing on his name at the moment, and I do actually have Module Federation running on Angular 9, and I think I will do a video on that probably this week or next week, which is, I think, really cool. And in fact, actually think also about doing like a React Angular interop, not necessarily for components, because that's like a whole kettle of fish that I really don't want to get into. That really I would probably recommend single SPA for, but something that would show data interchange, like strings or A/B test code or something like that, that would show interchange of sort of basic logic, maybe some form validation, that kind of stuff between an Angular app and a React app would be nice. Alex, I mentioned like 10 use cases. Which one are you talking about? Like the Zork, like the you walk into a room, there's a knife in the corner. What do you do? Through east, west, north, south. All right. Well, this is fun. I really enjoyed making this example. This is something that stings me at work. The form one, not necessarily that, but because large e-commerce companies, they do tend to work globally. So having sort of per locale customizability is a big deal, and being able to kind of have an app that is an e-commerce app that is more of a platform and less of a vertical for a particular locale is really critical. And each locale wants to be able to tweak little things like, oh, that's not the way we do addresses, or we need an additional field, or this is, this particular part of the checkout experience isn't required, or, yada, yada. Pick your own adventure. All right. Well, I like it. Alex, let's do it. Let's do XState with Pick Your Own Adventure. I'm in. All right. Well, happy Friday. And I hope you folks get some fun stuff going on this weekend. I know I'm probably going to go into the gorge, out towards Mount Hood, and with my daughter this afternoon, because we just need to get some fresh air and go hiking. And then probably on the weekend, just, watch some movies in the backyard and chill out. So, and then, probably for me, work a lot on the dashboard, and then Wednesday's video, which would not be Choose Your Own Adventure, but maybe the week after that. I'm excited about it. Alex, if you can, send me the stuff on XState, let's go make an adventure game together. All right, guys, have a great weekend, and I hope you enjoyed it. Come on back, subscribe, like, and all that good stuff. Bye.